Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm super excited to show you how to create this modern UI style titles in After Effects. These titles are sleek, stylish, and packed with small details that will really make your project stand out. So let's dive right in. First, we will start by creating a rounded rectangle. Let's name it body. Next, we will add a small rounded rectangle like a button and name it BTN. Now let's duplicate the body layer and resize it to act as a guide layer. To set the size, we will subtract 50 pixels from both the left and right, and also from top and bottom. Turn down the opacity so it doesn't distract us. Rename it guide and change the label color to stay organized. Next, let's create the circle. Make sure none of the layers are selected in the composition and create a circle. Let's move it right around here and rename it circle. And now bring in your picture and resize it so that the picture fits in the circle. Use the pick whip tool to set the track matte. Perfect. Now duplicate the circle, bring it above the picture, turn on its visibility. Set the track matte with the original circle and disable the fill. Now the stroke will show up on top of the picture. Let's go ahead and change the color of the stroke to white and increase the size. Let's also give a stroke to the picture outside. Make it 3 pixels and black. Perfect. Let's actually change this inner stroke color to a nice light green color maybe. This looks good. Alright, now let's rename the layer, the stroke. Now let's create the star. Change the color to white, stroke to none. Double click the star tool. Let's go inside and resize. And let's give it a stroke. I don't know, for some reason this stroke size doesn't really match with the other ones, even though it's the same number. But I kind of have to visually try to match the size. So let's go ahead and do that. It looks okay. Now let's increase the points. Let's give it a color, like a vibrant purple color. Perfect. Now let's type in the main title and position it. Be somewhere here is good. Let's add also a paragraph. I'll just paste the text and let's reposition it. Add a line below the main title. Let's disable the fill. Click and hold shift and click. Change the width to 1 pixel. Let's animate the circle. First, we need to center the anchor point. Hold Ctrl and double click this icon to snap it to the center. Now it is right in the center. Let's create a keyframe, scale. Before that, we need to parent the picture and the stroke layer to the main circle. Now let's make it 0, hit F9, go to the graph editor, refine the curve. Next, create a position keyframe to add a smooth slide effect. Hit F9 and adjust the curve. Adjust the timing to make it faster or slower to your likings. Maybe bring the position to here and this looks a bit slow. Let's make it a little bit faster. That looks good. Maybe we can adjust a little bit more. Alright, now let's hide these layers by enabling the shy button. We will come back to that later. Let's animate this shape. F9, adjust the curve. Now the anchor point is way off the shape center, so let's control double click. Now it will scale from the center of the shape. Perfect. Let's add the text to the button. Resize it and align it to the center. Parent it to the button. Let's animate the body layer, the main shape. To animate the body layer, we'll use the size property instead of scale. This prevents any distortion in the rounded corners. Create a keyframe. Go forward. Create another one. Disable uniform scaling. Let's bring X size to 0. F9. Adjust the curve. Let's bring back the shy layers by clicking this button. Now let's offset the body layer and solo these 3 layers. Perfect. Unsolo them. Now let's animate the text. Go to animate, position, make a keyframe and drag it to the left. Now hit F9, adjust the curve. and go to the end of the animation and right click new mask. Now the text will only show up inside the mask. Let's offset this. Copy this animator and paste it to the other one. And go right click, mask, new mask. Make sure when you're creating the mask, you're at the end of the animation, otherwise it's not going to work. Next, let's animate the line. Go to animate, trim path. Bring down the end to all the way to 0. Create a keyframe on the start. Go all the way to 100. Actually, first one to 0 and the last one to 100. F9, change the curve, offset it. Perfect. Now let's rename it. Rename this layer as well. Let's also offset this layer. Next, we will animate the button. Let's create a keyframe on the scale. Bring it all the way to 0. F9, adjust the curve. Offset the layer to match the timing. Perfect. Now let's duplicate the button and bring it to the left. And also duplicate the text. Organize a little bit. Select these two layers and go to Align panel and align it. And let's bring this above to see how it looks like. It's okay. Let's rename this layer. Again, we have to select both and align it and reposition it. I think I'll bring this down, this button. Let's bring it down. It looks much better. Now let's preview it. Now, as you can see, the text like is kind of way off the button. To fix that, we need to remove the parent link. Let's go ahead and end of the animation or none, and again parent it back. So now it will work. Just check if there's any issues. Maybe we can offset a little bit the body layer. I think it looks good now. I think the inner stroke will look much better with the white color. Let's give it a white color. It's good. And let's color the buttons. Let's choose a nice blue color. And let's go down, decrease the opacity. And color this one to a yellow. Also bring down the opacity. Also, all these settings are right here on this right panel. Now you can easily access to those settings. You don't have to go through a bunch of drop downs anymore. So if you prefer to change it this way, it's easier now. Let's make a quick preview. That's pretty much it for this title. Let's create the next one. Let's rename this and let's go ahead and duplicate. The second one, let's double click, get rid of all these layers. Now the button looks transparent, so we need to bring back up those fill opacity. Let's go ahead and do that and give it a nice lighter color. Let's first increase the opacity to 100% and change the color to a lighter color. Same thing for this button. Change the color to a nice lighter yellow. Now it's not transparent. Now we can use these texts and all these assets for the second one. Later we will copy that. Next, let's get started with the second one. Select the rounded rectangle and create a rectangle. Change the color to white, stroke to black. Bring the background for visualization purpose. Actually to black, not the white. Let's resize it a little bit. Uncheck the uniform scale and increase the Y. Rename it to stay organized. Go to Effects, Distort, CC Page Turn. Change it to Classic UI. Let's change the fold radius to the lowest number and fold position. Fold direction to -135 and let's adjust the fold. Now let's duplicate this layer. Call it fold. Now change the render to back page. Change the color. Let's get this color from here. Hit OK. Need to select the layer. Now let's create the guide layer. Duplicate this and call it guide layer. Change the label. You can do simple calculations in these values, in these boxes. You can simply type in this case, subtract 50 pixels from each side. Let's go ahead and do that. As you can see, left and right. Now let's do top and bottom, -50. Now this rectangle will help us to align things. Let's lower the opacity of this one. Enable the fold And let's get rid of this fold by only selecting front page. Now enable the back page, the fold. Let's go ahead and create a square where the picture will appear. This is going to be the matte. Now this is where the guide layer comes in handy. We can align things perfectly. Align it to the corner. Now let's go to the first text box and copy some of these buttons. Paste it here. All the animations are done, so we just need to align it with the help of guide layer. Let's duplicate this layer. Hold shift, right arrow, shift, bottom arrow, and bring this layer down. And let's duplicate both of them. Actually align them first. Now let's duplicate these two. Hold shift when dragging, and bring in the text as well, the titles. Align it and offset. Also resize them. That looks okay. Now let's copy these two text and drag it to the center. Now let's align them. Now if you keep this box ticked, the snapping, you will have to align much better. Now let's unsolo all these layers. Forgot to unsolo this. Let's rename the layer to matte, the square, and bring in the picture. Scale it down to fit to the square. And let's set extract matte to the matte layer. Now let's go ahead and give it a stroke to this picture. Right click, layer style, stroke. Now let's try aligning this picture a little bit better. Move the matte layer a little bit. Looks okay. Now let's change the color to black, the stroke color. 3 pixels is good. Duplicate this layer, bring it above. Turn on the layer and set its matte to the original matte layer. Turn off the fill and give it a white stroke. Increase the stroke. Give it this green color. Looks nice. Organized a little bit. Parent this text to the yes button so that it will scale with it. Same for this one. Parent. Now let's animate the picture. Parent this first to the matte layer. Now let's center the anchor point. by double clicking while holding Ctrl. Press S, make a keyframe, make it 0, select both, F9, adjust the curve. Now let's offset these. Looks good. Now let's animate the body layer. Parent the fold to the body, S, make a keyframe, and make it 0. F9, and adjust the curve. Now we need to offset this layer a little bit. Select all the layers except the body. Offset it. Now it looks much better. Let's give this one a gradient. And edit these gradient colors. I'll choose these colors. And let's bring down the opacity. Now let's do the same for the second one. This time the colors in reverse. Make the opacity a little bit lower. And realign these. Looks perfect. Now let me put both of these in one comp and show you the preview. Let's align these. And that's it for this tutorial, guys. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.